The structure of an industry is crucial in determining the level of competition within it. This, in turn, significantly impacts the profitability of individual firms operating within that industry. Understanding the underlying forces that shape this structure is fundamental for any business seeking to achieve a sustainable competitive advantage. It provides a framework for analyzing the competitive dynamics and identifying opportunities and threats. Essentially, industry structure can be viewed as the rules of the game within which businesses compete. These rules influence the strategies firms can adopt, the resources they need to succeed, and ultimately the level of profitability they can achieve. A deep understanding of industry structure allows firms to anticipate changes, adapt to challenges, and make informed decisions that enhance their long-term performance. By recognizing the factors that drive competition, businesses can develop more effective strategies. They can identify attractive industries to enter, anticipate competitive pressures, and position themselves for success. This understanding is not only crucial for established players, but also for new entrants seeking to carve out their niche in the market. Ultimately, industry analysis, with its focus on structural forces, provides a powerful tool for firms to navigate the complexities of the competitive landscape. It empowers them to make strategic choices that enhance their profitability and ensure their long-term sustainability. In 1979, I introduced a framework for analyzing industry structure that has since become a cornerstone of strategic management Porter's 5 forces. This framework identifies 5 fundamental forces that together determine the intensity of competition and consequently the attractiveness of an industry in terms of its profit potential. These forces are not independent of each other, rather they interact and influence one another, creating a complex and dynamic competitive environment. The 5 forces are the threat of new entrants, the bargaining power of suppliers, the bargaining power of buyers, the threat of substitute products or services, and the rivalry among existing competitors. Each force exerts a certain level of pressure on the industry, impacting its overall profitability. For instance, a high threat of new entrants can erode profitability by intensifying competition, while powerful suppliers can capture a larger share of the value created, leaving less for the industry participants. Understanding the strength of each force is vital for crafting effective business strategies. By analyzing these forces, companies can identify the key factors driving competition in their industry. This knowledge allows them to develop strategies to mitigate threats, exploit opportunities, and ultimately enhance their competitive position. The 5 forces framework is not a static model. It's a dynamic tool that requires ongoing analysis and adaptation. As industries evolve, so do the forces shaping them. Therefore, businesses need to continuously monitor these forces, anticipate changes, and adjust their strategies accordingly to maintain their competitive edge. The threat of new entrants refers to the potential for new competitors to enter an industry. The ease with which new firms can enter and compete with incumbents significantly impacts the overall profitability of the industry. When barriers to entry are high, the threat of new entrants is low, protecting existing players from increased competition and potential price wars. Conversely, low barriers to entry invite new competition, potentially eroding profitability for all firms in the industry. Several factors contribute to the height of entry barriers. Economies of scale, for example, can deter new entrants by requiring them to enter the market at a large scale to be cost competitive. Strong brand identities established by incumbents can also pose a significant barrier, as new entrants would need to invest heavily in marketing and branding to compete effectively. Other barriers include high capital requirements, access to distribution channels, government regulations, and proprietary technology or knowledge. The higher these barriers, the less attractive the industry becomes to potential newcomers, thereby safeguarding the profitability of existing firms. Understanding the specific barriers to entry within a given industry is crucial for developing effective competitive strategies. Incumbent firms can leverage these barriers to deter new entrants and protect their market share. For potential entrants, analyzing these barriers is essential to assess the feasibility and attractiveness of entering a particular market. Section 4. Bargaining power of suppliers, influence on input costs and quality. The bargaining power of suppliers examines the influence that suppliers of raw materials, components, labor, or other inputs have on an industry's profitability. When suppliers hold significant bargaining power, they can exert upward pressure on input costs, directly impacting the profitability of the firms they supply. Conversely, when the bargaining power of suppliers is low, companies can negotiate favorable terms, securing inputs at lower costs and improving their profit margins. Several factors can contribute to the bargaining power of suppliers. A concentrated supplier base, where a few large suppliers dominate the market, tends to give suppliers more leverage. Similarly, the importance of the input to the buyer's business plays a role. If the input is critical to the buyer's operations, the supplier's power increases. The availability of substitutes also influences the dynamics. If readily available substitutes exist for the supplier's product or service, their bargaining power diminishes. Conversely, if the supplier's offering is unique or highly specialized, their leverage increases. Companies need to understand the dynamics between their industry and their suppliers to manage this force effectively. Strategies for mitigating the bargaining power of suppliers may include forming strategic alliances, developing alternative sources of supply, or seeking to differentiate their products or services to reduce reliance on specific inputs. Section 5. Bargaining power of buyers. Pressure on prices and profit margins. The bargaining power of buyers focuses on the pressure that buyers can exert on businesses to lower prices, improve product quality, or provide more favorable terms. When buyers have high bargaining power, they can drive down prices, squeezing profit margins within the industry. Conversely, when buyer power is low, businesses have more control over pricing and can command higher margins. Several factors contribute to the bargaining power of buyers. High concentration of buyers, with a few large players dominating the demand side, tends to give buyers more leverage in negotiations. The significance of the purchased product or service to the buyer's own business also plays a role. If the purchased item represents a significant portion of the buyer's costs, they are likely to exert more pressure on price. The availability of substitute products or services also influences buyer power. If buyers can easily switch to alternative offerings, suppliers face greater pressure to maintain competitive prices and terms. Conversely, if the product or service is highly differentiated or specialized, buyer power diminishes. Understanding the dynamics between their industry and their buyers is crucial for businesses to manage this force effectively. Strategies for mitigating the bargaining power of buyers may include differentiating their offerings, building strong brand loyalty, or seeking to serve niche markets where buyer concentration is lower. Section 6. Threat of substitutes. Competition from outside the industry. The threat of substitutes considers the potential for products or services from outside the industry to fulfill similar customer needs or wants. The availability of attractive substitutes can limit the pricing power of firms within an industry, impacting overall profitability. When the threat of substitutes is high, companies face a ceiling on the prices they can charge, as customers may opt for the substitute if prices become too high. The threat of substitutes is high when the substitute offers an attractive price-performance trade-off compared to the industry's offerings. A key factor here is the switching cost for customers. If it's easy and inexpensive for customers to switch to the substitute, the threat is higher. For example, video conferencing technology poses a significant threat to the airline industry, especially for business travel. As video conferencing technology improves and becomes more affordable, it presents a viable alternative to face-to-face meetings, potentially reducing demand for business travel and impacting airline profitability. Businesses need to monitor the competitive landscape for potential substitutes, even those originating outside their traditional industry boundaries. Strategies for addressing the threat of substitutes may include enhancing product differentiation, highlighting the unique value proposition of their offerings, or proactively entering the substitute market themselves.